record to the computer. All right, for some reason, I feel like the sound is super low. I don't know why. But welcome one and all. Happy September sales meeting. Can you guys even believe it's September, right?
Crazy.
It is insane. I just can't even believe it's September. But here we are. And thank you, Maria. But it is September, and I'm just going to say, as I share my screen, I'm so thankful to each and every one of you. We are here because we are a team that is a culture defined by its people, and you guys are definitely people that are premier. So premier in our authentic pursuit of relationships, in our unwavering values, in our promise of elevated experience, and in our aspiration to lead the best life. So thank you, each one of you, for being premier. And I want to start with this awesome video. So we're going to go ahead and play this. Maybe. That's a good one, right? Yeah, that's a new Sotheby's one. What do you guys think of that one? Pretty awesome, right? I know, chills, right? So I just got that off of the Sotheby's International YouTube channel. I thought that was awesome. If that doesn't say we are premier, right? What does? That's a great one. So what we do is we elevate all of us around us, and I love this. How we do it is artfully uniting extraordinary people with extraordinary homes. And for those of you who haven't heard of my greatest new sneak plan, this month I'm going to be planning, of course, what are we always talking about? We're talking about listings. Woo! And my expired listing plan is about this phrase: artfully uniting extraordinary people with extraordinary homes. So we have a wonderful book. It's called The Story of Your Home. It's something that Sotheby's came up with a long time ago. It's actually on Express Talks. I'm going to talk to Sonia about it today. I'm going to see if there's a way we can get it. But I think for those high-end homes, what a beautiful thing to do is to send this beautiful Story of Your Home book with a little card that says, I am an expert at artfully uniting extraordinary people with extraordinary homes. Are you still interested in selling? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that is above and beyond, right? So we'll talk about that. I'll share that more when after I have a meeting with Sonia, see if we can create that book internally with PSER, because I think that would be really nice. It's the story of Sotheby's, how Sotheby's came about from 1744, the auction house. And then it says, tell us the story of your home. It's a beautiful book. So we can look at that. Now, be proud. We are the 18th largest brokerage in the country. Personally, we are the second largest Sotheby's franchise in the world, guys. Premier Sotheby's, second largest franchise. We're the second largest Realty franchise among all brands. So that's Sotheby's. These are stats you need to know. When you go on a listing presentation, this is stuff you should know off the top of your head. We're the fourth largest franchise, regardless of any brand. So when you are coming up on a listing, you need to understand this stuff. You need to know this stuff, right? This is great stats. So today here we have some wonderful guests with us. Our wonderful, incredible partners, Maria Smith and Tom Sorrentino. We have our terrific partners from Premier Concierge Insurance. I think Mike O'Connor is on with us, and maybe even Rob Clark, who's our newest addition, so I have to double check. And we have Phil Logas, who is our wonderful, terrific in-house attorney who he plays to be. poor Phil. I always call him and he's like, yeah, I'll be your attorney. But he helps us with everything. So I'm going to start with Phil. Phil, would you care to share some interesting information on what's happening in the legal side and closings and craziness?
Well, I have 4 things I'd like to talk about. I'm going to just take 1 minute on each one. A few things that we've had come up. First thing is, can you hear me okay?
You know, for some reason, it's not playing on the TV, and I don't know why. So I wish I could get it to be louder.
That's probably a good thing.
I don't know that it is. I wonder if there's anything I could do to make the sound louder. Let's see. Audio settings. Let's see. Output. Okay, go ahead. Talk now.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's much better. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So we had a closing with an international wire. And the international wire, from the time that the buyer said that they sent their deposit, took probably 2 weeks to get here. Wires do not take that long from the time they're initiated to get here. An international wire is almost like a domestic wire. Once it's actually initiated by the buyer, it does not take long. So so if you have a closing and the buyer is international, there are some hoops they have to jump through, maybe with their country, but once it's actually initiated, it takes a few hours to get here. Now, they might be on the OFAC, which means they may have a name that's on a naughty list, and that'll get held up by our bank. But once we clear that, it'll come through. So the point is that we had a buyer who was, telling little white lies about when they sent their wire. And so, number one, international wires, from the time they're actually initiated, many businesses send international wires. That's how they do business all the time. So they don't take that long. Second is,
can I ask one question on that, Phil? Because
Sure.
we did have something like that, and they said that the name was held on the on that naughty list because of their place of origin, and they said that the government was holding their money. So that was a white lie. Yeah,
the government doesn't hold the money. What happens is the bank, it goes into a wire room. So the way these wires work is they go from bank to bank, and they go into a general ledger account at the bank. So the bank's got this account, and it's just all these wires come into that account, and then it gets posted to your account. And when it comes into that account, they check for the names, and if it hits, then the bank will call me, and they'll say, hey, this name, this was a very common Middle Eastern name. And so, we had to just simply provide date of birth, ID, purpose of the wire, and then they release it. So that's how it works.
So it really was that they didn't send the wire.
That's kind of the theme of this conversation is that if they're telling you they actually sent a wire, there may be some bankers when you go and send a wire and they don't initiate it right away. And, maybe that's an issue, but, this guy was sending it from Canada. Okay. And we've sent and received 1 million wires from Canada. And so it ends up that he really hadn't sent his wire. And unfortunately the realtors were calling us 10 times a day to see if the wire had hit. And, he said he sent it. And anyway, so that's.
We get receipts when they send it. I mean, you get there's a paper trail.
Mm-hmm.
There should be ways to track that on all the ends. Right, Phil?
That's exactly right. You get a, so, and that's basically how we busted them. We finally got the Fed reference number, and we can trace it back to see when it was actually initiated. And it was initiated literally about 90 minutes before it was received by us. So.
Oh, interesting story.
Not 10 days, not 10 days.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. What's the next thing you want to
share? Fraud, just be careful, if you get a buyer, for a title company, or a lawyer's office, the fraud on our end's on the seller side, but for you, it's typically on the buyer side. So be careful. It's the same old thing when you get somebody from China or Nigeria or Russia that you've never talked to that wants to buy a house for cash. The red flag should go up. There's a number of other items that, that are basically red flags. So, if something kind of smells fishy, you can call us and, we'll tell you. But if you've never spoken to the person and you're only dealing with them by email, that's really bad. That's number one. The market was hot and people were doing FaceTimes, but these fraudsters, you'll never FaceTime them. You'll never see them. So just, be aware of that. The third thing is,
I don't understand it. What's their game?
Here's the game. The game is, and it's more so for us, but what they do is they send us a check and it looks like a check, and then they cancel the contract and they want us to wire the money back. Well, the check's no good and they try and get it in the gap, and that's what they're trying to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So, number 3, we have a lease option, and I could do a whole seminar on lease options, but suffice it to say there's a true lease option, there's a correct way to do it, and then there's the way that's better for you all, because you want to get a commission. And a lease option, a true lease option is when you sign a lease and the tenant actually has an option, which is an intangible personal property right. They have an option to buy the product. They may not exercise it, they may exercise it. So you don't get a commission until they do that. So what many times we get this, and I explain that to the realtors, and they're like, oh, no, we just want a pre-closing occupancy. So we want them to sign a contract and then they rent for a year and then close. And that's, now you've got a signed contract where you're locked into your commission. So I could go more into that, but a true lease option is in fact an option where they don't have to exercise it, where you may not get a commission. You may spend a lot of time and not get a commission. But most of the time you're just want the tenant, the buyer who would become a tenant to rent, and then they're also under contract, and at the end of the lease they close.
Bill, you don't have to spend a lot of time on that, because I hate all lease options, pre and post occupancy, and I really hate the idea of not getting a commission. So, yep.
Okay.
So thank you.
And then
we hate them.
Yeah.
Bill, I have
Now,
a question. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear
So
you.
unfortunately, I'm dealing with a whole lot of the lease option right now. The good news, and Carrie, you'll love this, we're closing and I'm being paid on all of my deals. However, which is what we want, right? But my question to you, Phil, is after the closing and there is a post-occupancy lease in place, how do you protect yourself as an agent or your sellers? What would you recommend that they do? Because someone already owns it now, new, but the tenants are, the sellers are going to still live there. And I want to do the best thing I can do for the seller so that they don't get burned. Is there anything that you would suggest?
Well,
obviously,
so
like walk through.
If you're talking about, we're not talking about lease options here. We're just talking about post-closing occupancy, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So post-closing occupancy, are you representing the buyer or the seller?
Sellers.
Okay. So
I have 7 of them right now. 7 of them that are doing a post-occupancy lease.
Well, so a couple things generally, you always want to lease. And, I told somebody, I learned a long time ago as a lawyer, people it's like, oh, we don't need a lease. We just need a post-occupancy agreement, or we just need a license. Remember, I think, Kara, you sent me the license. Well, you know what? we live in a crazy world now, but I learned as a young lawyer that, a dog is a dog and a cat is a cat, and you can call a dog a cat, but it doesn't make it a cat. So a post-occupancy agreement, license, it's still a lease. It's just a lease. Okay. Call it whatever you want. Okay. It's a lease. So number one, you want a lease because you never want anybody in possession of a property without a lease. And so here's the issue on post-closing occupancy agreements that we don't typically deal with. One is, you should have your walkthrough before closing, but you should do a second walkthrough just like you would with any tenant. And typically you would make the seller responsible for any repairs. You're pushing back the seller's responsibility until they leave under the contract. Okay. So what you're really doing is saying, hey, the seller, you've got this maintenance obligation under the contract. You've got to, effectuate all these repairs until you leave. And a lot of people don't like that. Oh, I got the seller, and you have the buyer and the air conditioning breaks, right? After closing, the seller's still in there, and the seller tells the buyer, well, you got to fix the air conditioning. So that creates, so those are really the main issues to deal with. You don't want them in there without a lease, and because it can get very crazy. If you ever try and evict somebody on a lease that arose out of a contract, it gets very muddy because the issue is well, my rent was part of the consideration. Oh, and whether there's merger of the contract and whether they have a right to be in there. So always have a lease and always deal with the repair issues, whichever way you want to do it. But those are the two main issues.
Well, the good news is on all of mine, they were actually written by an attorney for after we close.
Okay.
And I've always said, and Carrie, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know if anyone ever runs into this, but I'm not a fan of them. I don't care for them. There's a lot of gray matter with those. And after you do a successful closing, the last thing you want is the buyer and seller to hate each other. So everything's done professionally. I have some coming up, and the walkthrough is crucial. And maybe even videotaping, like this is how the property was, when we closed. And so when they move out 14 months from now, no one's coming up with some crazy things.
Well, the biggest issue that I see, one of the biggest issues I see is, you got $1.5 million house and the security deposits, $2,500 or even $5,000. I mean, I would never let somebody rent a house that I owned on that value with the, $5,000 security deposit. There's just too much damage that can happen, too many things. The other thing is, nobody ever checks the insurance, right? You're a landlord. Okay. Where's your liability insurance? I'm the owner, I'm the buyer, I'm the owner now. Send me your liability insurance. I need to see that. I need to see the insurance. Nobody ever checks that kind of stuff. So, and that's not really your job, but I'm just pointing out the things that
Well, thank you,
Phil.
Phil.
They should get renter's insurance. They should maybe get renter's insurance.
Well, they convert their homeowner's insurance to renter's insurance. Correct.
Okay. Well, thank you, Phil. Was there one other thing you wanted to share?
Yeah. Sorry to say, we did our first short sale. People.
Geez, really? Surprising.
Yeah.
Surprising.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
What does that mean, Phil?
What's that?
What does that mean? Is there more to come or what?
I don't know.
I find that surprising. We'll look at the numbers. We'll look at the market. Yeah. I don't find that from what I'm seeing in the market. You can look at it yourselves, but you never know, right? You never know what you see. So it depends on how high leveraged they were. But yeah,
they were very leveraged. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Phil. You're always a wealth of knowledge. We love seeing you, and we love hearing all of your wonderful information. So thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you.
All right. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye, Phil. Now, I'd love to introduce Rob Clark. You kind of disappeared your face, but this is our newest member to the Premier Concierge team. Rob, are you with us? There
I
you
am.
are.
Thank you, Carrie.
Terrific. So you are in the Orlando area, Winter Garden, I believe, correct?
I am. Yep. Winter Garden is my home office. As I said in the email, I've spent the majority of our time here in Central Florida. We were in Dr. Phillips, and I was in my spare time president of the Dr. Phillips Little League for a good number of years. So very familiar with the community, Windermere, Winter Garden, Dr. Phillips. My kiddos go to TFA. So yeah, I'm truly excited about this opportunity. Yep.
So Rob has joined the Premier Concierge team, but handles more of the high end. Is that correct, Rob?
You got it. Yep. That's the only thing I've ever done, and not to date myself, but 20 plus years in the high net worth space. And it's truly a unique opportunity. I sat down with Budge this past Tuesday in his office in Naples and talked about the true power this partnership has to build value add between our clients, our initial clients, and having another professional in your toolbox that not only understands the affluent client space, but also the crazy market that presents itself in the Florida homeowners insurance market is truly a distinguisher between you and your competition. I think anytime that you can build value add within your clientele is extremely beneficial. And I just wanted to say, Carrie, you talked about something that spoke to me that was awesome. You talked about in the kickoff of your presentation here this morning, extraordinary homes. And I was super excited. That is truly where we shine in the high net worth affluent space. Is the bigger the home, the more capabilities we have to be creative in our high net worth carriers. Chubb, AIG, Cincinnati, they are chomping at the bit to write homeowners that are $3-4+ million here in Central Florida. I don't have to tell all of you. You guys certainly know and walk the walk every day that the homeowners market is crazy, especially in the solo counties, Seminole, Orange, Lake, Osceola. They're doing things that we've never seen before in the middle market space. They're truly, if they're not going bankrupt, they're setting their underwriting criteria to say, hey, we're open for new business, but we're actually not writing any homes with tile roofs. And we're like, wow, how is that? That is a huge handcuff. So just navigating that space becomes extremely challenging. And so again, super excited to walk through those obstacles with you and present ourselves as a value add to you and your clientele.
And can you do me a favor, Rob, and put in the chat your contact information for everybody? And then also I'll be sending it out to the team afterwards, but I just want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and kind of let everybody know. Mike O'Connor is still with us. He'll still be handling, the lower kind of more common, normal kind of price points as he was, but Rob is there for us in that special extraordinary home sort of market. And also I understand you do equestrian properties as well.
Absolutely. The equestrian properties go hand in hand with affluency, obviously. And so we have a dedicated equestrian team that can actually come in and bring value to the program as we talk to your clientele. So I certainly know enough to be dangerous, but believe me, when it gets the least amount of muddy, I'm bringing in our expertise into the foray so that we can truly give them the best possible solution for what they need.
Wonderful. Does anyone have any questions for Rob? No? Well, thank you. We welcome you to the team. We're looking forward to doing business with you and getting to know you. And we are very thankful that you're here. So thank you for joining us today.
You got it. Thank you.
And we have, of course, with us our wonderful team, Tom and Maria from South State Bank. Woo! Who would care to start and share us a little bit about what's going on in the market?
Sure. Put my audio on.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear it? Okay, so I sent a mortgage market update this morning, and if you don't have the email, Cindy will forward that to you. But just want to talk a little bit about the fact that in mid-June, it seemed like rates had plateaued a little bit, and since then, in the last month, they've significantly increased again. So that gives, maybe you should start looking at the 10-1 arm and the 7-1 arm, because rates are back into the sixes in both jumbo and conventional. So just wanted to point out that our jumbo 10-1 arm is still 4.625, and then the 7-1 arm conventional is 4.8, and jumbo is 4.5. And we can do 10% down with no PMI up to 1.25 million. So just kind of wanted to point that out, and in the email it kind of goes into detail with the charts and why this is happening and all that good stuff. If you have any questions, please reach out.
That's great. Thanks, Tom. Marie, you want to share anything?
The only thing I really wanted to talk about was in kind of in conjunction with that, rates are up. I've got just one example of a person that is buying new construction, and her rate was at 5.5. Now it's firmly at 6.5, and it's over $200 a month more for this particular customer. Makes them very uncomfortable. Make sure if you have someone pre-approved and it's been a while, that you reach back out to their lender, or make sure they're aware that things have changed. And I actually lost a contract this week. The customer, he was pre-approved, everything's good, but the payment was just, and he still would have qualified, but it was uncomfortable. And it was threefold. Rates are up. The property tax bill is from a person that had the house for a while. Their taxes were only $1,500. Well, the taxes are going to be probably over $300 for this guy once and make sure you're going to the county's website or whatever. I have just a generic one too you can use. I think it's called Smart Asset. Just to quickly go to the county's website and use their estimator of what the taxes are going to be at the new price point, with homestead or without, because it's huge difference. That on top of homeowners insurance, which you could say, oh, 150, 100, that would do it. No, insurance could be 300, 400, 500. It varies so widely, and people want us as their lender to give them a house payment. Well, until you have a house picked out, until we have the 4-point inspection, until we know where the roof's at, truthfully, I don't have a clue what their payment's going to be. I mean, you can guess, but you have to really just basically double what you thought the taxes and insurance were. And now add another couple $100 because the interest rates are higher. So it's becoming very painful. So that's why the adjustable rates are becoming really, I'm trying to sell them as much as I can, because the fixed rate is just not comfortable anymore. And it's been a knee jerk, because you went from in the 2s and 3s to now 5s and 6s. So it's scary. So just make sure you're communicating with your buyers and making sure they understand that you may think the payment's going to be $2,500, but it could be $3,000 or whatever. Every deal is going to be different, but make sure you're having these conversations, and make sure if you're not using Tom or I, that your lender is having these conversations, because it's going to get ugly. I literally had a contract ready to close, do everything. And then once he got his insurance and realized that the taxes were higher, he's like, cancel, done, can't do it. He qualified still, but it's not about qualifying. It's about, especially a first-time home buyer, or anybody, when you see your 401k going down, or whatever, your investments, and now your payments are going to be higher than what you really thought it was going to be. It's getting a little scary, a little hard.
And that is why a lot of the new home builders that I'm talking to them, they have cancellation rates in the 40%. It's crazy. One builder I talked to is 49%. I actually have new on-site agents, which are golden handcuff. Everybody knows golden handcuff, right? That means they don't get paid if they leave. Huge backlog, right? They're willing to walk away. Some of them are contacting me about coming to General, which I love. So on my side, I'm sort of excited. But evil side. But the truth is, listen, guys, they've got draws like all the way up here. By the time they see, and we don't even know if these builders are closing, right? Because they're still delayed. And these poor buyers are going through that. They're having the same situation where they're saying, oh my gosh, my payment has doubled in some instances, right? Because they didn't lock because they couldn't lock. And now they have all the situation where the rates have gone through the roof and now they can't afford it. So people are backing out. So this is a very interesting time. Now, if that's your customer, let's get them some backup offers on some financing. Let's get them some, adjustable rate mortgages. They don't have to be a 30-year fix. Are they going to stay in the home for 30 years? Probably not. Unlikely, right? So, but think about that. That's a big thing that's happening right now in new construction. Very interesting. I had a very interesting conversation yesterday with a great on-site who's been doing it since probably 20 years. And what he said is like, who would have thought the market on new homes would turn like that so quickly? And it's true. The on-site world has seen a very big switch because they were turning around saying, we want you to cancel. Now they're like, please, dear God, don't cancel, right? It's a very big switch on their side. So it's interesting. Anybody have any questions for Maria or Tom?
Yes. Do you guys do DSCR loans?
I don't know what.
Debt servicing loans for like investors?
Oh, where it's based totally on the investment, what the property can.
Yeah, like if somebody's putting 40% down, they know it's going to draw X amount for the lease, 40% down, and then
That's not going to be the only income. No, that would not work. You know, are you trying to say that that's their only income?
Yeah, so they're qualifying based on the income that the actual property or the investment would bring in.
correct.
Yeah.
Only? No.
Okay.
No. I think the only world that does that is going to be commercial. I don't know anybody on the residential side that's going to do it strictly based on. I mean, they're still going to look at the income of the asset by itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not aware of that, but
not on the residential side.
not on the.
Yeah, I'm closing one tomorrow in Ocala.
Mhm.
Probably with a commercial lender.
With the lender that's doing it with in Ocala Preserve for an investment property that we're getting, and it's a residential home.
Right.
So I was just curious about whether like you guys did that.
Well, I mean, we count the rental income
Yeah.
to help offset that payment.
Right.
Of
But they
course.
still have.
But they
income.
still have a place where they have to live, and we have to look at, can they afford their current house where they live? I mean, so no.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I don't know. And I'd love to hear exactly what you're doing up
Okay.
there, because that's an
It's
interesting.
becoming, with interest rates right now, they're just becoming very popular options for investors. You know, investors are like, hey, I don't want to just, because of rates or whatever, because these rents are going crazy. Like we're getting.
Does your buyer have numerous properties?
Yeah.
So maybe it's on all of his properties combined, and that's where his income is?
But,
I don't know. I just.
So just really quickly, because I know that's not what this is, but a residential home that an investor is buying, an investor comes in and says, hey, I'm going to put 40% down.
It's probably a private investor holding the paper.
No, it's
a bank?
Yeah, it's a bank. It's a mortgage company.
Huh?
Now, granted, they're based out of Miami.
Could be portfolio loan though.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, could be.
Okay.
Could be. Yeah, no, I don't do
Alrighty.
that one.
So I'm gonna unmute. So if you want to mute Tom. And there we go. So anybody else have a question? Does anybody else have a question for Maria or Tom? Okay, well, thank you to Maria and Tom, as always. We'll probably have more for you during it, but I'm just gonna continue. And we're gonna move on and see what else we got going on. Oh, we have our wonderful Miss Sonia. Sonia, did you want to share anything?
Hi, yes.
Oh, hold on, let me stop
Has
my
anybody,
share.
tried the app?
Oh, I have that coming up. Hold on. So yeah, let's talk about that. Wait, are you in the meeting? No. So here, come on up.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if anybody had tried to access the app.
I have been using the app. I have the app. We're going to talk about the app. Has anybody else used the app? We're going to talk about that app because that app is awesome. You want to share anything about it?
Yeah, so it's basically almost like a CRM on your phone. You have all your contacts in there. You can put any reach outs that you do to them. You can record your, emails, any phone calls that you had. It's a good way to just keep up with who you need to touch next and kind of organize everything, as well as you can, I think you can report directly from there too.
I actually haven't seen you being able to send reports, but you can look at your reports. You can see who's actively engaging with them. You can see who's engaging with your listing alerts, and then you can contact them from there. You can actually see who has birthdays, who has anniversaries. You can actually create tasks or deal with your tasks right from on here. And you can set up your, you can set up if you have any kind of open houses coming up. So I don't think you can set up your campaigns, but you see how many campaigns you have going on, but you can't set them up.
So there's a lot of good information. It seems overwhelming at first just to, make sure all your contacts, but they should all be fed in there for you. But it is a good tool just so that you don't have to think about it. Who do I need to talk to next? Or who do I need to contact or at least touch one way or other? You can just look at your phone and say, oh, these are the people, and you can even schedule it.
What's really nice too is that you can email them or text them right from there, and then it goes into your contact. So that way you have it all up to date with your CRM, and you've done it right from your phone, which I love because I'm a talk to texter. Sorry.
What's the name of the app?
What was that?
What is the name of the app?
My Hub Premier. My Hub.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay, great, Barbara.
Then I think that Carrie mentioned at the beginning, the road show that's happening.
Yep, we're going to talk about that too. So if you have not registered for the road show that is at the All Fondant September 20th, please do. We're looking forward to seeing all of you there. It's going to be awesome. We're having an agent panel. We're having lots of speakers and of course some networking as well, but it's going to be wonderful. So you want to make sure you're there.
Yep. So if you haven't registered, please do. I'm putting in the numbers now. So I just want to make sure we have enough food for everybody. So please register.
And drinks and food and not kind of alcoholic drinks. It's in the morning. Okay. All right. So moving on. So what we've seen our social media strategy, which has been big for Sotheby's. These are some of their latest campaigns. So let's take a quick look. We got this one. Has anyone seen the Nothing Compares? So this is what they're doing. They're doing them on TikTok and they're doing them on the Instagram. So this is seen in the Rob report. So this is showing our awesome social media, but also our presence in all over all of our media. So we've got lots of great things in the Rob report, Mansion Global. We have had some huge significant sales going on. So they've created a wonderful social media piece with the significant sales that we've had. So this is something that you should be sharing. If you don't have it, you can download it. It comes direct into your inbox. And this is a really cool piece they send out every month about the significant pieces that we've had in the media. Did you guys see this one? It's a really cool one. Yeah. So this is a really cool one though. This is the latest one that they just had. This was in the Rob report. That's a beautiful one. Isn't that one? I want that one. And then this one is the one that they just did in Reels. How would you spend $8 million? I could come up with a couple ways. Okay. And so I could. Now, this is us, Luxury Impressions. You guys how many of you guys have been using the Luxury Impressions for your customers? This is the Nurture newsletter. This goes out. Sonia, how often does the Nurture newsletter go out on Active Pipe? Is it every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, every month? Do you know? Every month. So you see this is a beautiful piece that goes out automatically. So you have to go into your hub and you create the newsletter Nurture campaign. It's a group. It has to be called the newsletter Nurture campaign. And you might as well put all your contacts on it. Why not? It only goes out once a month and it will be automatic. And then automatically it goes into your Active Pipe and all your contacts will get that beautiful newsletter about all things Sotheby's, about really cool content, new things that are happening, beautiful content. Then you can also create it's a seller Nurture campaign or the buyer Nurture campaign. And then you obviously have to pick and choose who your buyers or sellers are. How frequently do those campaigns go out, Sonia? Do you know? Buyer and seller campaigns? I'm not sure either. I think they're every 2 weeks, but I could be totally wrong. I don't remember. But anyway, those you could also create, but they have to be in your hub. You go into groups, you create a new group, and you have to write it either seller nurture campaign, buyer nurture campaign, newsletter nurture campaign, and then you add the people into the group. If you have any trouble with that, I'm happy to help you. But these are those AI things that when you send it out, they go out automatically for you. You don't have to do anything, but you will be able to see in Active Pipe who's engaging, who's clicking, and then based on what they're clicking on, they will get a different content that's curated for them, which is really cool. So it's a really neat campaign, the buyer and seller ones. The newsletter is just a newsletter that everybody gets the same content, but it's great content. It's all Sotheby's content, and it's a variety of different content. So it's not all the same content. It's really nice. So if you haven't done that yet, I recommend everybody, put everybody on the newsletter one. It's so beautiful. Another thing that if you haven't started doing that, this is a really great thing that they have. These are the emails. So this is Artfully Uniting Extraordinary Homes with Extraordinary Lives. This is the buyer email that went out. That is the buyer's book. So they are getting that buyer's guide that they could click on and look at it. So that's part of that. And this market trends, this is so cool. This is part of the seller campaign. A seller needs to know that we are the #1 luxury leader in this market, right? So that is part of that seller campaign. What would you tell a seller? Why should they list with us, right? These are the things that the seller needs to understand. Local content, we are the luxury leaders. Hola, Luciana, ¿cómo estás, mi vida? They need to understand that we are the luxury leader in this market, right? So this shows them right here that we sell more luxury homes. This is homes over 500,000 in Central Florida than anybody else. This is great content. So even if you didn't want to put everybody on that drip, you could still get this. You go into Active Pipe and you search seller and these emails come up. You can search buyer and the emails come up. I actually searched and it really worked. Surprise, because it's really hard to find stuff in there because you're like, boom, tons of content, right? So to search it is really hard. But if you actually put the code word in, right, you can find that stuff. So it's really cool. The other one that I thought was so cool was they actually have great content from the auction house. So that was awesome. Yes. I hadn't seen those. I don't know where I've been. I don't know. I know. They have awesome, beautiful Active Pipe emails about what's the new auction stuff going on and where they can go see new auction events and sign up for the auctions. Because remember, the auction now comes in multiple different price points. It's no longer, $1 million and up or whatever. Like they have auctions that, normal people like us could do, right? So that's pretty cool. And you can click and see, and you can do virtual auction events too. So you don't have to be in person. So I thought those are some really cool, as we're coming into the holiday season, what better than going onto the auction and buying some really cool gifts that way, right? So maybe that would be a really cool thing to start thinking about as we're doing touch plans, guys. We should all be thinking about setting up touch plans for our database, right? And what does that touch plan look like? It has to be how are we reaching out to them? We don't want to send them the same thing every month, right? So what a great thing to add in is something cool about the auction house. Why not? People love that stuff. So I just want you to be aware that that's in there too. And I was remiss, I didn't see it. So that was really cool. This is the app that we were talking about that you can download directly from the App Store or the Google Play Store. And again, they have a really cool the open house registration. Oh, Robin, you're on. Awesome. So for our open house, I forget what we call it, our package or whatever that we do for everybody. I was talking to, I don't even remember who yesterday, sorry, but they had a great idea. You know how you have that really cool, I think it was Oksana, the URL that you can see, you can scan, and it will give them the opportunity when you're in here. Let me move this out of the way. See that? So the QR code, they scan that and they get the information on the house, but then they also would put their information in and it goes direct into your contacts. So that's how you know who came to visit your open house, right? So maybe we could get this. If you guys could take a picture of this, we can add it to your flyer. That way, if you're doing it from another house, we can add that to your flyer that we're creating for you for your open house pack. You think we can do that, Robin? I know Robin can do that.
Yes, we can. As long as it gets sent to me, I can absolutely add it.
See, she's so good. There you go. So That's for our new open house pack. So remember, when you tell us you're doing an open house, we're doing your flyers for you. We're doing the digital flyers for you. We're doing your social media for you, right? We're doing the social media. Yep. Awesome. So yes, Sonia.
7 days in advance if you want it in the Sunday newspaper.
Well, if you want it in the Sunday newspaper, 7 days in advance, but here's the key, guys. It has to be a Sunday open house, right? Because if you're doing a Saturday open house, which unfortunately tends to be bigger in Central Florida, at least it always used to be, I don't know about now, it doesn't matter. You had your open house on Saturday and you're in on Sunday. So remember, if you want to be in the paper, you have to be 7 days in advance. You have to do it on Sunday, right? Keep that in mind. Okay, that's a little thing. And a recommendation, if you're having an open house, 2 things. Have a virtual one, at least a 5-minute virtual. Why wouldn't you? You're there anyway. Create an event and do it virtually. And number 2, do a VIP event, right? Always do a VIP event, because to me, the whole idea of the open house is for sellers. You know how I feel about buyers. So we want to do it for sellers. So the whole idea is create the VIP event. The first part of it is for the sellers, the neighbors, to invite people. If they're nosy anyway, you know that, right? But we're really trying to get them to want to sell their house, right? That's the whole point. We don't tell them that, but that's
Invite Tom and I.
Invite Tom and Maria.
That's part of our thing.
Absolutely. And by the way, get a gift card or whatever and do a drawing during the VIP event. That's how you get people to come. Do that online, part of the virtual, get people excited, right? This is the thing. That's how you get people to watch and see and do. And that's the way you get people to register also. This is the best way to get people to come. Yeah.
If you need any information on how to do the virtual open house, let me know. We do have all that written out for you, kind of gives you an idea how.
Yeah.
And we also have.
There's instructions on how to do the virtual open house, but the best way to do it is to create an event on Facebook and to post it and create excitement about it. Are we still sharing it on our page as well?
Yes, we can.
We can also
On our,
Premier Sotheby's page.
let me check.
Okay. So Sonia will check. We used to share it on the Premier Sotheby's page as well, and that was great because we get added exposure for you. So she'll check to see if we can still do that. Okay, so here is our wonderful event at the All Fund Inn. I hope you all come because it's going to be amazing. And only it's BYOB. No, just kidding. Please don't. Tony might, you know. You know, it's funny. I actually have an agent that I know very well. She's so sweet. Her name is Loretta Mamoni. She's out of Mount Dora, and she used to carry Tito's in her purse all the time. And no kidding. So I saw her. I was training at Ralph's doing contracts, and there she was. And I chatted with her, and I said, Loretta, do you still carry Tito's in your purse? She pulls it out. Of course.
Mimosas have orange juice and orange juice and vitamin C.
So no judgment. It's a judgment-free zone. If you're bringing in your purse, I'm not looking. Okay. But guys, please register for this so that Sonia gets enough food. Okay. Now, remember, if you have not done your digital campaign with me, come set an appointment. We will do your digital campaign. We are getting mixed reviews, but we are getting reviews. People are still, it's kind of like they say, no publicity is bad publicity, right? All publicity is good. So we just have to get in front of people, right? People need to know the information, and you need to be the first one bringing it to them. Okay, so here's some information on what's happening with the market. And this is where I would have to say, yeah, Phil saw a short sale, but I don't think that's an indication. First of all, appreciation may be slowing, but there is no depreciation at this point. And that is really important to take a peek at. So this is something that you can see that, yes, there's you know, a slowing appreciation, but that doesn't mean anything negative, right? Now, look at the difference between the length the crisis took last time when we had that they call the Great Recession. Look what happened with unemployment. It took over 6 years to get back to normal. Oops, go back. And this last time, it was super quick that it came back, right? So we're not thinking that it's the same thing that we were having as last time at all. So, you know, this whole gloom and doom, you hear it all over the news, no panicking, right? Now, this is the biggest thing. And this is why I don't think we're going to see what we saw in short sales. This is what happened in the housing bubble. This is how many people, how many mortgages they were giving out. Because if you fogged a mirror, you were qualified. What? you can breathe, you get a loan. I mean, there were people that were getting 4 and 5 loans that worked at McDonald's. I mean, it was ridiculous. They were counting the income that you were gonna. I am not. You're gonna rent this home? No problem. They hadn't even rented it yet. They had 4 rental properties. They couldn't even afford the home they lived in. And when it was ridiculous, this is what happened. Now notice, of course, it totally changed after the market crashed and they tightened everything up. But look how many loans they were giving away in June of 2022. They kept the mortgage so tight. They only gave them to actual, you're gonna not believe this, qualified people. You actually had to have a job. You had to do more than breathe. You actually had to be able to qualify. And then don't forget the other part here in Central Florida. How many of our people, 30 to 40% of our buyers are cash? That's a huge percentage of our marketplace. Okay, so yeah, could you find a short sale in there? Sure. But the majority of people who purchased the home were super qualified, right? So for them to short sale, you got to ask yourself, what happened here, right? Some major thing must have happened. They bought them up. Who's to judge, right?
Well, Sonia and I were talking earlier about the short sale. We do see that there could be some because I think a lot of people who didn't buy, who were the homeowners steadily, have taken out
home equity lines of credit or second loan, refi, cash out refi.
Exactly.
But even if you cash out refi,
Yeah.
this is the other thing I want you to take a look at.
Or like a home equity loan.
Well, we're going to look at that for a second, but hold that thought.
Okay.
Hold that thought. Okay, here's another thing, foreclosure activity year by year. Now, oops, I don't know how I did that. That was special. Look, not a surprise. Look how many foreclosures there were back in 2009, 2010. Those were the height of the foreclosure market. Why? People didn't put any money down because that was another thing. You wanted to buy 4 homes and you work at McDonald's? No problem. You don't have any money for the down payment? No problem. We'll give you a second. So you don't even have to. So you have the first loan and the second loan, and then you don't need any money down. People had no skin in the game. So
much money was made.
it was so crazy. So of course they walk away. Why wouldn't they walk away? Right? Why would you even stay in it? You didn't put any money down on it. You can't buy a car like that. But people were buying homes like that, and multiple homes and high-priced homes. It was insanity. So this is why the foreclosures, and it took a long time to clean it out. So it's not a surprise that it didn't end overnight, right? Banks are not in the business of selling homes, which is also, surprise, when the as-is contract, my favorite contract, came into play. Don't start me. Anyway. Okay, but notice, look how low it is down here. Foreclosures are super low. And there is a reason, because people actually have skin in the game, number one. And number two, they have equity in their property. So to your point, even if they did a cash out refi, the banks, the lenders aren't going to cash out refi to 100%. Maria, the cash out refi to what? 70% or 80% cash out refi?
Cash out 80.
So the cash out refi to 80% of your equity.
And then the HELOCs, the home equity lines are 80, maybe 85. So I don't know.
And I don't even think HELOCs were even that big still. They weren't even, were they huge?
CLTV is 85 max.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they still had to have equity in the property. They couldn't take 100% out. You see what I'm saying? No, now.
Oh, now.
Now.
Yeah,
So if your home, what was that?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that it was 125. Your home is worth what? Take it all out.
Oh,
It's gonna keep going up. We'll give you it all back. Yeah, it was insanity. But my point is, today, if you got a home equity line of credit or you got a refi, cash out refi, right? You still had to have 20% or maybe 15% equity still in that property. The bank is not giving you 100% of that equity. So you're still having equity in that property. So why would you still walk away?
Well, Carrie, I don't think that people will
walk away, but I think people have taken some of their equity out. Now the payments are coming in and they're hurting, so they might be willing to sell their house.
Selling your house doesn't mean you're foreclosing.
No, but I think there might
And it
be
doesn't mean
more
you're short
opportunity.
selling. You know what short selling means? Short selling means that you have to sell your home for less than it's worth. That's what a short sell is.
Well, if you have 2 mortgages, you might have to.
But why would you sell it for more than it's worth if the purchase price of the home would have to drop? This is the difference. The bank did an appraisal to make sure that they are going to lend you the money, and they're only going to give you 80% of that money, not the whole 80%, but you know what I'm saying, right? So you're trying to tell me that house value dropped 20% or more.
Well, I don't think there'll be more short sales. I just think there'll be more people wanting to sell their house.
I think so too. No. This is opportunity time. Listen, we're gonna reel in. We're going fishing, guys. Absolutely.
0.75% every month. So those
No.
equity lines are all tied to HELOC to.
No. I couldn't agree with you more.
The digital campaigns, the listing, the listing appointment that I went on with the digital campaign, they said, okay, great, we're gonna use you guys. I'm gonna call you as soon as I finish getting my refinance. No, that's why that's smart.
Yeah.
If he's got $400,000 in equity in his home and he only owes,
Mhm.
40%, why not
Take the money
refinance
out.
to 80%?
Sell it. Use that
Sell
money
it,
as a down
and
payment.
he's not paying capital gains on $400,000.
Yeah.
No, capital gain has nothing to do with
Yeah.
it.
No. I know not what he owes, but because you have that buffer. But if you maxes out, if he refinances his house as much as he refinances his house, and his proceeds that he gets from the loan, part of that is calculated. So if you get because of refinance, that's debt. A debt is tax free.
No. But from a capital gain perspective, it doesn't matter how much you owe on your house. It's what you paid for it and what you sold it for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but the point is, you still have the money that you got out of the house that you could use for a deposit on a new house. Yeah.
So you would get it either way when you sell it or.
Yeah, but now if you need the cash,
You have the cash to go buy something.
that's what I'm
else
saying. You have the
without it.
cash, you don't have to wait to sell, right? Makes you a little bit more
Yeah.
liquid.
And I'm telling a lot of people that are unsure if they want to sell their current house to buy the next house, and they have a lot of equity in it, but they're not sure. I'm telling them, if I don't like them necessarily to refinance because it costs money.
Yeah. Why would you
But
do that
if
if you're
you
not
get
gonna
a home
stay?
equity line, if you decide to keep that as a rental property going forward, you're never able to get access to that without doing a cash out refi to all that equity. So
Yeah.
get a home, and you can't get home equity lines. They're very rare on investment properties.
Right.
So get a home equity line on your house now before you move out of it.
Right. Because that LTV gonna get chopped way
Yeah.
down, and that capital you won't be
Yeah.
access.
And you have no access to all that money.
And guys, keep in mind that inventory is still historically low.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing. We still have so many buyers compared to even the ones that can't qualify. We still have so many more people moving here, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing, because people are still coming from other states where it's still much more expensive to be at that are moving here. So even though they're getting squeezed out there, where are they going to come? They're going to come here. And that's a huge thing too,
And
right?
they still have lots of-
So the estimated home price performance, and this is based from the Success Summit that happened 2 weeks ago, but they're still saying that they think that over the next, however many years here, it's still going to continue to climb. So, and that's even over, and this is just even still being pretty conservative. So they still think that the home price, and this is national. Now, I'm going to tell you, in Orlando, our increase of equity has been much higher than other places. Because if you look in certain places in the Midwest, their equity increase has been very low. But, 5% has been pretty traditional nationally across the board, even through 2008, 2009, 2010. It pretty stayed consistent through everything when you look at it nationally as a picture.
Arizona is one
Mhm.
of the only states that are out there that is actually starting to go down. And the only reason why California is going up as high is because everything's on fire in California.
Now let's take a quick picture of what's looking here locally. So I looked at what happened last month. I just looked at August 1st through August 31st. There were 66 things that's active. It's very hard to tell because things might have popped out. 53 of those things that were still pending, but 75 sold. Okay. Now, this is what's interesting. The average, this is the 2 zip codes, average list price, close price. Oh, I should have moved that over. The close price was 650,038, right? That was 20 days on market. Last year, it was 656. This is the only area I looked at that actually went down. The only area. And then I thought that was super weird. And days on market went down too. That's not unusual. But I thought that is so weird. Everywhere else, it's been significantly higher this year. So I broke it down. I said, what the heck is happening? I'm going to break it down by zip code. And it was 32836. Interestingly enough, this particular year, for some reason, the average close price is 783. And last year was 881. So it was because Golden Oak had some very high sales last year, and that's what skewed it. So I had to look and see what the heck happened, but that's what happened. And you're looking at 36 sales. So if you look at 36 sales and you have a 5 million and a 6 million, that does skew the numbers, and that's why. But 32819 this year was 551. Last year was 494. So that makes sense because every other market I looked at, and now we have 4 expireds. Last month alone. Lake Nona, the 2 zip codes, this year, the close price is this month, 677. Last year, 525. See, this is why you're not gonna have short sales. Look what the average close price has done. Guys, that's huge. That's about $150,000 more this year versus last year. How could you have a short sale? The average sales price has risen $150,000. Days on market is actually a little higher by 3 days. Okay. And we now have already had just last month 4 expireds. That's the number to watch. The expireds are going to go up because you have people in this market who don't know what they're doing because we still have too many realtors that joined because they want to get in and they don't know what they're doing. And B, too many realtors that are still just trying to play the game from a couple months ago that are overpricing the homes that are just going to sit. And we're going to pick them up and we're going to sell them. So this is the number to watch, the expireds. This is Windermere. So look at this. Windermere last year, they sold 107. So last year you did sell more because there was more inventory, believe it or not. They sold 807 was the average close price. This year was 915, over $100,000 more. Okay, days on market a little more this year, 3 days more. Again, we're not ready. Two expired. This is only the month. I'm only looking at August. Okay, here you go. This is Winter Garden. 177 this year, this August. Last August was 197. But look at this. Last August closed at 520, 798. That was the average close price. 650, guys. $130,000 more. Average days on market, though, look, it is going up. It is creeping up all over town. 4 days, yeah, a lot of mimosas. 7 expireds. Expireds are coming. I love it. Okay, Claremont. Okay, they obviously had more closed sales. Again, not a difference, but look at this price differential again. 391, 443 last year, same month. This time 448. Everywhere except for that one zip code. But again, it was just Golden Oak that threw it off. That is what you're seeing. And again, days creeping up. 2 days. But you're going to see my prediction. Days on market are going to go up. Average sales price is not dropping. So you're not going to see short sales because people still have equity. The sales price is not going to decrease. It may not keep going crazy, but it's not going to drop. Okay. We're not going to see that. But you will see this number creep up, expires, because people are going to keep overpricing it or leaving it there. And people like us who actually know how to sell homes are going to pick them up, which is exciting. Now, this is Ocala. I did Ocala market too. 619 versus 579. Their average sales price last year was 288 and it's 304. So everywhere. And look, again, days on market creeping up, 4 days. And this is on average, obviously. But everywhere you look, all across town in all of my markets, you're going to see the same thing. What are we looking for? We're looking for trends. So that is what I'm telling you. The trend is average days on market are creeping up, but average sales price continues to climb. Again, I don't think it's going to keep climbing significantly, but it's not going to start to plummet. I don't believe that for a second. By the way, 21 expires is pretty crazy in 1 month, right? So any questions about that? I mean, I think that's pretty telling. Would you guys agree? So Terminal C opens September 19th. Woo! We are like the second largest airport in the nation. How cool is that, guys?
It's very cool because it's already there.
I
It's
know.
already less expensive now, but that stays the same.
Oh, 10 to 12 million more travelers per year will be coming through Orlando. They will have 24 actual restaurants in that terminal, 34 total concessions. This thing I thought was so cool because I'm TSA, so I love it. My God, I don't know how I ever traveled non-TSA before. I don't even know.
Global entry.
I'm global entry too. I love it. But the TSA screening is going to be 100% automated facial recognition. I know. I'm so excited. I can just walk through. I'm so excited. It is the first LEED terminal in the world. LEED certification. This is amazing. There's no other terminal that has it. And it's all about high tech. So you can actually drop your bags off hours before, which I'm not sure why people are there hours before, because what are you doing? But anyway, you could, and your bags will actually automatically get to their plane. I don't know if I'm going to try that, but anyway, that's supposedly what's going to happen. And they have an MCO app where you can, it's just like Disney, you can go check the wait times and the flight schedules right from the app. So this is really high tech stuff. I'm super excited. And as you know, what is already there is the Brightline. The Brightline station is there, not functioning, but by next year, this time will be fully functional. It will be Orlando to Miami, and then the next phase will be Orlando to Tampa. So it's going to be amazing.
That might be the only way to actually go to Miami.
It may be. It absolutely may be. And the Brightline will be working together with our, what's our little train here that we have that nobody ever uses? That's the one. Brightline actually in phase 3 will be working with the Sunray together to do more local stuff. I'm not sure how that will work, but they are going to be collaborating with the Sunrail some way, somehow. I know, I thought that was interesting too, but that's pretty cool. But the Brightline, she was so cool when she did this whole thing for us for Florida Realtor. She was saying that they have first class and they have platinum class. Sorry, nothing else. So it's supposed to be really, really cool.
Does it stop anywhere else or it's straight?
Yeah, no, it does. There's stops along the way. Right now it goes West Palm to Miami. Yeah, it already is functioning right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But there will be stops along the way. And they're going to have 2 stops here in Orlando. There's going to have one on iDrive and then one Disney did not want it.
No.
Which I cannot understand. I just don't get it. But there'll be another stop closer by like convention over that way. So I don't know where the actual stop is going to be, but over towards the convention because Disney didn't want it, which is
I think
so
because
bizarre.
Disney would have had to give up too much of their actual prime real estate to allow for
The station
people
maybe.
parking in the stations or whatever, and that's just
Maybe.
it wasn't the Disney way.
But you would imagine people coming up from Miami or wherever, you know, how cool would that have been? But anyway, yeah. So, but there will be 2 other stops other than the airline, other than MCO here in Orlando for Brightline stations. Yeah. Pretty cool though. Coming into the future, guys. Welcome to our newest agents here. We have Oksana Pavenko joining us from Washington State, Peyton Lewis joining us here locally, and Madeline Carafa. Welcome, welcome. And then we also have James Box, Megan Cassidy, and Jessica Rivera. So welcome one and all. And happy birthday to Kieran O'Brien, David Walsh, Magdalis, Benjamin, Emily Knudsen, and Michelle Morrison. Woo! Okay. And our numbers. Okay, here we go. I gotta get my breath down. Okay. In Orlando, we have August listings at 11.5 million. Congratulations to Tasha, Anita, Rafe, Miranda, Liani, woo, Susan, Seda, Barbara, Ashley Jones, Tina, Fran, and Alex, and Suzanne. Woo! We have Orlando and Ocala sales, 12.2 million. Congratulations, Luciana, Tasha, Anita, Fran, and Alex, Seda, Beverly Brown, Alan Maycomber, Tana, Susan, and Shane Carson. Woo! our closings for Orlando and Ocala, it's Lake Nona, obviously, right? Is 10.8 million. Tasha, Stacy Rollins, Luciana, Fran and Alex, Shane, Barbara Ashley Jones, Wendy Stevenson, Tana, and Susan Abshire. Woo! Okay, congratulations to Dr. Phillips and Claremont. August listings, 15.1 million. Congratulations to Dawn, Carrie, Marilene, Janet and Janice, Ash, Jules, Alistair and Pippa, Becky, Brianne and Angie, Linda, Teresa, Carol, Luce, Maria, and Lori. Woo! And for our sales, 24.8 million. Congratulations to Dawn, Bree and Angie, Alistair and Pippa, Maria, Jules, Daniel Dorado, Chris and Julie, Teresa, Luce, Carrie, Bruno and Susie, Gordon, Linda, Janet and Mark, Andrea, Elizabeth Chichiportish, Stacy, and Wendy. Woo! Chichiportish. And for August, closed sales of 33.5 million. That's an awesome number, guys. Congratulations to Dawn and Val, Daniel, Janet and Janice, Carol, Gladys Becerra, woo, Jules, Teresa, Chris and Julie, Gordon, Marilene, Angie, Janet, Mark, Alistair and Pippa, April, Carrie, Lynn Lou, Benjamin, Andrea, Ash, Bruno and Susie, Nick, and Elizabeth Chichiportish. I just like saying that one, actually. Okay, so I want to remind you again, please register. And oops, I lost it. That was super weird, right? And again, I want to thank you all for being here. And if anybody has anything to share, I want to remind you all that I will be going to Northwestern on the weekend, and I will be off Monday and Tuesday, but I'm not really off because, you know, you can call me. But I am dropping my son off at school. And then I guess I'll be here for a long time because I'm done traveling. I'm tired. But if anybody needs anything, reach out. We are all here and looking forward to having a great rest of your week. So thank you all for coming.
You were going to say something to me?